Today we're talking about pipe tobaccos. So I've been smoking a tobacco pipe for, I want to specify a tobacco pipe. I don't do any other stuff. No other types of pipes for me. So I've been smoking a tobacco pipe for coming up on 4 years now, and it has been a journey. As with most people, I started out with the really sweet aromatics. I thought those were sort of the be all end all. Lane 1Q, Autumn Evening, so sort of the classics that new pipe smokers get into. I never tried the Captain Black, and to this day, I actually have never tried it. But a lot of the ones that you've probably heard of if you have ever been into the pipe world or the tobacco world. I tried those and I like them. But I've sort of been back and forth over the years with pipes. I'll smoke for a while and then I'll put it down. And having never been a cigarette smoker, I don't crave the nicotine or need the nicotine. I'm not trying to get a fix, so to speak, or anything like that. But I've always been drawn to pipes. My dad smoked a pipe when I was a kid. He was coming off cigarettes, and so he used that as a method to try to get off of them. And he vapes now, no longer smokes a pipe. But I saw that as a kid, and the classics, Lord of the Rings, solid pipes in there. And so there's something just that drew me to them. Um, and started out with the aromatics. But over the years, I have really, really grown to love English style pipe tobacco. And there's some hallmarks of what would make a pipe tobacco an English style. And those would be it uses Latakia, which is like a smoky, people describe it as campfirey, sometimes leather notes or almost acrid notes. But that might all sound good, but it's actually very pleasant. Um, all English blends, to my knowledge, have uh, Latakia, and then most of them have Orientals, which tangy, spicy, sometimes floral sort of quality. And actually, that is my favorite component of most of these English blends is the Oriental tobaccos. And then there's usually Virginias involved. Sometimes you'll have Perique, sometimes not. Sometimes you'll have Cavendish, sometimes not. But definitely you have Latakias, Virginias, and then usually Orientals at least. And sometimes you'll have what they call kitchen sink English, which is kind of has a little bit of everything. But I've explored vapors as well, which are Virginia Perique mixes, and the one that I love and I smoke quite often to this day is a Scudo Navy Deluxe. Um, it's changed hands multiple times throughout the years, and it was discontinued for a while. I believe in the late '90s, early 2000s. But Virginia Perique mixes vapors. This is far and above my favorite. It is something to behold. It's a beautiful blend. I love it. Um, but yeah, I really, really love the English pipe tobaccos. Um, and so my top three, at least right now, and this is of course subject to change. I'm kind of constantly buying fresh tins and trying new ones. I've got quite a bit cellaring, which is just kind of sitting, and as it ages, the sugars and the Virginias they ferment and the flavors mellow and they meld together, sort of like if you're cooking like maybe a chili or a gumbo or something. It's just kind of better the next day. It's a similar principle where these pipe tobaccos, if you let them set for a while, a lot of times they become better over time. That is not necessarily true of tobaccos that have toppings such as aromatics. Those are usually meant to be opened and smoked pretty quickly, within the year or so. And we are back. My wife actually came in to tell me goodnight. She falls asleep usually much sooner than I do. Anyhow, I was talking about aromatics and cellaring. You shouldn't cellar those. Uh, I mean, I have one that I think is a couple years old, and I smoked it not too long ago, and it's actually still pretty pleasant. Anyway, getting to my top three currently, I would say number one, and I actually don't have this tin, which is super frustrating. I moved not too long ago, and I believe I accidentally threw out the tins, but I had the tobacco saved in a mason jar. Mason jars are a must-have for cellaring or for storing pipe tobaccos because once you pop the air seal that's on these tins, they're going to start to dry out. It usually takes a couple of weeks to really dry out. But once they dry out, you have to rehydrate them. It's a whole process. It's much better just to pop them in a mason jar, make sure this thing is nice and tight, and these things will be good for years to come. Anyway, number one for me right now is going to be Maltese Falcon. By It's produced by Cornell Deal, I believe, but the blender is GLP's. I love this blend. I could wake up in the morning and smoke this. I could smoke it throughout the day, into the day. I mean, literally any time. It is. They describe it as a medium-bodied English, and it's Oriental forward though. It has spicy qualities. People, I believe Spurgeon Piper mentioned that he believes that it is ginger actually, like a ginger syrup or something like that sort of notes, and not that there's a topping, but that there's that note within this tobacco. Maltese Falcon, it's my favorite. I love this blend. I could, like I said, smoke it anytime. Number two spot, uh, and also an everyday, any time of day smoke for me, is My Mixture 965. Formerly of Dunhill, switched hands. The recipe and is produced now, or packaged and everything, by Peterson. I love 965, and once again, I do not have any 965 tens to show you because I accidentally threw them away. And it's all in mason jars like my Maltese Falcon. Anyway, 965, phenomenal blend. What I like about the 965 is, unlike the Maltese Falcon, there is some brown Cavendish. There's black Cavendish, which is usually American blends that use that. And there's brown Cavendish, which my understanding is it's like a Scottish component typically. So it'd be a Scottish tobacco. And uh, it's just it's amazing in there. It's subtle sweetness in the background, and I could smoke 965 all day, any day. It doesn't quite hit the same notes for me as Maltese Falcon. That's why it comes in second. But I would be perfectly content smoking it anytime, any day. And then right now, number three is Nightcap, and I do actually have one of these tins. And this was also formerly of Dunhill, and Peterson now has taken on the recipe and continues to produce it. Nightcap is just that. It is a nightcap blend. I have smoked it during the day before, but it's meant to be the end of the day, after a full meal or at night, just, something that you just really tuck into at the end of your day. And it's actually funny. I tried it, one of the first tobaccos I ever tried because my dad loves it. And he suggested it to me. And my virgin palate was not ready for Peterson's nightcap at that time. I barely made it through the bowl, and I was out with my wife at a cigar lounge while smoking it. I was drinking old fashions at that time while I was smoking it. I barely made it through the bowl, and I would keep taking sips of the old fashioned, trying to just get through the bowl. And then I tried again maybe a year later, still wasn't really to my liking. And actually, just recently, not too long ago, I picked up a couple of tins of Nightcap, and man, I have just fallen in love with this blend here recently. So that comes at number three for me. Some other, I would say, honorable mentions. Um, okay, said Escudo, Navy Deluxe, Vapor, my favorite vapor of all time right now. Anyway, another one. Now, this is also in English. I guess technically it would be a Scottish blend as well because uh, it's a Rat Race, Red Rappery. This blend is another phenomenal. If there was a number four, it would probably be Rat Race, Red Rappery. Um, and that one uses the brown Cavendish as well. I love that blend. I like John Bull. John Bull's a good blend. And most of these are going to be Englishes that I'm naming off. I've really fallen in love with these English blends. Here soon, I'm going to branch out and try some ones that I haven't smoked a lot of straight Virginias. I've got some Orlex Golden Sliced right now. I'm saving kind of for the summer. So I'm letting it, just kind of cellar here for a few months at least, and then I'm gonna crack it open and give that a shot over the summer. I have tried multiple vapors. Like I said, Escudo is what I settled on as my favorite currently. But I want to get into trying some Burleys. I've never really um, I've never really tried many, and so I'm gonna get into some burleys and whatnot. Um, so yeah, I love tobacco and I love smoking pipes, and it is one of my favorite hobbies, my favorite pastimes. Um, I don't know. I wish more people did it, and I know there's some fear out there about the health consequences. But what people need to understand about pipes and pipe tobacco and even cigars to an extent is that it is not the same thing as smoking cigarettes. Um, the tobaccos that have a lot of toppings, yes, they do have toppings in it. Therefore, they have kind of whatever those people put in the toppings that are put on your pipe tobacco. But if you're smoking English blends, these are literally cured and fermented tobaccos, but they're mostly just straight tobacco leaf from different parts of the world and sort of um, processed slightly different ways, but they're all just natural tobacco that is put together in a specific blend by a master blender and smoked. So you're not getting all the chemicals that you would from cigarettes. And I know the same is true of cigars. These are just tobacco leaves that they're wrapping up. And I'm not talking about, like flavored cigars like Swisher Sweets or Black and Milds or anything like that. I'm talking about like true, like hand rolled, or even some machine rolled cigars. These are not the same things as cigarettes. And while it's true that there's some data to indicate that perhaps there's higher rates of esophagus cancer or mouth cancer in tobacco smokers of any kind. A lot of these things can be mitigated by not letting yourself get tongue bite a lot, which is when you smoke your pipe too hot and you end up kind of burning your tongue. Well, if you do that a lot, you have a higher chance of getting cancer. And that makes sense because you're constantly burning that area, just like if you're out in the sun and roasting the crap out of your skin, you might get skin cancer. You have a much higher chance, at least. Um, and then, as far as we don't inhale pipe tobacco or cigar tobacco. And if you are, you have issues. You should not be doing that. You don't inhale it into your lungs. I have asthma, not severe, but I had pretty severe childhood asthma, and I still have some as an adult. And there is no negative effect that I have ever noticed when it comes to smoking pipes or cigars for that matter, because I don't inhale them into my lungs. Now, if I'm having a real big flare up because there's a bit of secondhand smoke around when you're smoking those things, especially if you're not outside or in a not particularly well ventilated area, there can be some secondhand smoke. That might not be great if you're having a flare up at the time, or if you're sick or something like that. But I have noticed no negative side effects in at least the last 4 years, and the view I take on it is we everything we do in this life has inherent risks to it, things we enjoy. If you like going out hiking, there's risks that you are knowingly taking on to go and do that thing. I know that there is at least some level of risk in doing this, but I'm a grown ass man and I've made the decision that this is something I really enjoy and I'm doing it. And I encourage adults, not children, no one under the legal age should be engaging in these activities whatsoever. I'll just put that straight up. But I encourage you. This is a hobby that it makes you slow down. It's a stress reliever for me. It helps me get away and get some quiet moments of thought and contemplation and soul searching. Um, and I think the world would be a better place if more people smoked pipes. I honestly do. That's just my opinion. I am not in any way, shape, or form a medical professional. I'm not giving anyone medical advice, and I'm not saying everyone should just go smoke a pipe. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is it's something that I surely have grown to love over the years of sort of doing this hobby. And I would encourage, if it's something you're interested in, from what I found, the pipe smoking community, they're all great people. And if it's something you'd like to get into, reach out to local groups. And I encourage people to do so because it's a community that you don't really find too often these days. And it is a lot of fun. And it's something to nerd out over all the different types of tobaccos and the different pipes. And I mean, I have a steadily growing pipe collection as well that I love, and that's a whole another topic for another day. But anyway, yeah, tobaccos, man. I feel like they're demonized a lot these days, and there's been moves and legislation drawn up multiple times to restrict it further and further and further. And I just kind of call bullshit on it. The fact that pipes and cigars get lumped in with cigarettes is aggravating to say the least, and fucking heinous to say the worst. Just my opinion. Um, anyway, if you're watching this, thanks, and see you next time.